Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 192 based on novel. So let's start. Inside the quiet room of the cave mansion, Luofong sat cross-legged, first taking a Dan pill, then eating a fruit, and finally picking up the jug beside him and gulping down a few drinks. His soul was faintly glowing, and he felt better than ever. For the first attempt at creating a primordial level Tao, my state must be good. Luofong was rarely this extravagant, as a single Dan pill and fruit were worth 80,000 reward points, not including the cost of the wine. Let's begin creating. Luofong already had a prototype of the primordial life and death Tao in his mind, and now he needed to construct what he envisioned piece by piece. The Eye of Life and Death on Luofong's forehead opened, and under his will, numerous secret patterns were sketched in the void before him. These secret patterns naturally fused life and destruction, everything seeming as though naturally formed. 1 day, 2 days, 100 days, 1,000 days, 10,000 days. Luofong meticulously constructed the secret pattern map. At my current speed of construction, I estimate it will take around 10 eras to succeed. Luofong concluded. The primordial level Tao is vast, on the same level as the ancestor level secret pattern map. The number of secret patterns is astronomical, sketched piece by piece, ceaselessly. Successfully sketching them would take approximately 10 eras. It sounded great, but when actually constructing it piece by piece, many issues arose. Luofong occasionally paused to ponder issues and resolve them. It's like building a highly intricate machine spanning billions of kilometers. Problems at the start aren't noticeable until the construction is halfway through, when unresolvable issues surface. Creating a Tao is much the same. Many hidden issues cannot be solved in the later stages, leaving them to be patched up and loosely integrated. When the enormous secret pattern map was finally constructed, 18 eras had elapsed. It's finally done. Luofong looked excitedly at the vast and floating secret pattern map before him. Although very fatigued, he had ultimately constructed a complete secret pattern map. This map was grand and profound, entirely on par with the ancestor-level secret pattern map. The first version of the primordial life and death Tao, constructed over 18 eras, is finally formed. Luofong gazed at the secret pattern map before him. Regrettably, there are too many flaws. I can see numerous issues at a glance. Nevertheless, at least the large framework was constructed. This is a framework on the same level as the ancestor secret pattern map. I've also learned many lessons from it. Luofong was still quite satisfied. He believed the second creation would certainly be much stronger. Let's test what forming an avatar based on this secret pattern map would be like. Luofong thought. Simply observing the secret pattern map, some flaws remain undetected. But forming an avatar from it reveals numerous issues within the avatar. The energy in the cave mansion's quiet room was endless for the cultivators within the braided cage. With a mere thought, Luofong rapidly began to condense a body from tremendous energy that surged to an energy reserve 150 billion times beyond Luofong's original body. So colossal, most of the body couldn't be well controlled and had to transform into a blood sea, managed through a formation. While some parts maintained a humanoid form with a layer of cyan scales on the body, standing there exuding an indestructible aura. Feeling this avatar, Luofong was of mixed feelings. The first version of the primordial life and death Tao has too many flaws, making it impossible to perfectly control the body. Most of the energy reserve could only transform into a blood sea. However, the condensed human form was rather robust, and the cyan scales partially resembled those of the Star Tower blood scale. Luofong felt the avatar. Within the braided cage, half primordial life and death Tao can strengthen no matter how much, still within the braided cage. The many mysteries added to it could provide more abilities but may also be flaws. Many half primordial enlightened tried adding mysteries, only to be superfluous. Power not only didn't increase, but also decreased. Although Luofong only created the first version, this avatar was still far stronger than the original physical body. The overall control of this body slightly decreased. But the perfectly controlled part also exceeded an energy reserve of 50 billion times, greatly enhancing the overall energy reserve. The human form's combat power massively increased. Much stronger than the half-primordial life and death Tao. There are too many flaws, even the mind-consciousness system has issues. Luofong discerned more problems with the first version of the primordial life and death Tao secret pattern map based on the avatar's form. Completely tear down and start anew. Begin the second attempt to create the primordial life and death Tao. Having the experience from the first creation, Luofong was more meticulous the second time. He had to be extremely careful at the start of constructing the secret patterns because all subsequent patterns were built on these foundations. This time required slightly less time, consuming 15 eras to create the second version of the primordial life and death Tao. Far stronger than last time. Luofong looked at this vast secret pattern map before him. The fusion of life and destruction within the patterns had a glistening flow, even allowing Luofong to vaguely sense a kind of supreme power. Boom! This power subtly tempted Luofong's mind, drawing him in. I feel the highest level of power, but I'm still somewhat short. Luofong muttered, my secret pattern map is very close to the highest level power. Luofong was delighted. This time's secret pattern map was still vast, so much that Luofong couldn't spot any obvious flaws. The vast secret pattern map seemed unified. The ancestor-level secret pattern map seemed like the origin. Luofong's current secret pattern map also seemed like the origin. I can't find any flaws from the surface. Luofong thought, even though I vaguely feel the allure of a very high-level power, clearly, this second version of the primordial life and death Tao hasn't achieved a qualitative transformation, hasn't become a primordial level Tao. Luofong was very aware of this. Because the cultivator camp's intelligence had already been made public, according to the experiences of the previous 7 lords, once comprehending a primordial level Tao, the life level could directly leap to the lord level. But now, he still hadn't leapt out of the braided cage. It proved the second version was still a failure. Even though very close to success, it was still a failure. Looking at the secret pattern map, flaws remain unseen, so let's construct an avatar first to see. Luofong attempted to construct an avatar once again. Absorbing the energy of the cave mansion's quiet room, a humanoid clone rapidly begins to form. During the formation process, blood-red scales appear on the surface of this clone, resembling the Star Tower blood scale to about 80 or 90%. As the construction progresses, the aura of this clone becomes terrifying. Boom tilde tilde tilde. This clone naturally begins to form an invisible rule domain. The terrifying rule domain can suppress the previous physical body of Luofong. This clone can have 19.1 billion times the energy reserve, more than before, yet perfectly controls every portion of strength. The mind-consciousness system also completely controls every part of the clone, and the strength of spiritual will has greatly increased. With this clone, the spiritual will should have already reached the world-level primordial level. Luofong was astonished. This second version is excellent. Energy reserve is terrifying, spiritual will is robust. My current mind-thought operating speed is several times faster than when my original body consumed numerous treasures. Luofong looked at the blood-colored scale armor on his body surface, which can be described as indestructible. A thought. The scale armor naturally extends, merging into a knife. Luofong holds the knife. My body can transform into weapons. Luofong gently swings the knife in his hand, and the knife easily tears through space. I haven't escaped the braided cage yet, but this clone should be able to match high-level primordial life. Luofong made the judgment. The second version of the primordial life and death Tao is very close to success. Though I haven't escaped the braided cage, the physical body's size and power are enough to rival true high-level primordial life. Where are the billions of origins I plan to form within my body? Luofong noticed this point, finding no origin forming within his body. I discovered the problem. In pursuit of no defects, I weakened the power of life and destruction. I need to enhance these two aspects. Luofong retained the second version of the clone this time because this clone only needs to consume some treasures, greatly enhancing the speed of thought operation, comprehension, and other aspects. The third version is evidently more intricate, incorporating more mysteries of life and destruction. More perfect. When the secret pattern map was successfully constructed, Luofong felt a resonance with a certain supreme level power, and this power seemed already within reach. The secret pattern map is vast and intricate, on par with the ancestor-level secret pattern map. Closer to the supreme power, Luofong thought, but there's still something missing. What's missing? Attempting to construct a clone. The energy of the cave mansion's quiet room was mobilized to start constructing the third version of the clone. In just a moment, an enormous and towering Luofong figure appeared inside the quiet room of the cave mansion. Over 30 billion times the energy reserve was required to construct this clone. Luofong felt the formidable nature of this clone, with 3 origins within the body, and each of the 3 hidden origins can accumulate 100 billion times energy. My mind-thought operating speed is 10 times stronger than the second version clone. My spiritual will should count as normal world level primordial level. My physical body is indestructible. Luofong felt like he was a terrifying weapon, with even muscles and bones exhibiting some blood-colored scale characteristics. Still a slight difference, just a little more to perfection. If my entire physical structure resembles the blood-colored scale, my physical body would be considered immortal. The physical body would be the most terrifying weapon. Luofong sensed that a little further, and that would be the complete primordial life and death Tao. By that time, I would be the 8th Lord, and every part of the body would rival the Star Tower blood scale, indestructible. The whole body would be like the most terrifying weapon, annihilating everything. Still need to enhance the destruction feature, then the body would seem like a weapon, the presence would be more terrifying. No. Luofong suddenly had a revelation. Wrong. I've taken the wrong path. Luofong realized the problem. As an enlightened one, he had no bloodline or pollution, nor memory pollution. Therefore, he could clearly recognize his issues. In the second version, I pursued no defect, making the life and death fusion more perfect. Starting then, I was going off track. Continuously pursuing no defect, striving for life and destruction balance. Life and destruction balance, so my body currently only has 3 origins, instead of the billions of origins planned. At the same time, my destruction direction feature is intensifying, even the physical muscles and bones are transforming towards blood-colored scales. But in reality, it seems like I'm within reach of becoming a lord. Yet following the wrong path, I will never reach it, Luofong realized, because my foundation half-primordial life and death Tao fundamentally prioritizes life. The foundation is life as the priority, it's impossible to yield the fruit of life and destruction balance. The so-called within reach, it's just an illusion. My Tao is not the path of life and destruction balance. It is the extreme path, first pursuing the extreme of life. Beside a dark lake in the land of origin, the figures of 7 lords sat on the ground, exchanging some information. 13 ancestors led by the inference fire ancestor suddenly erupted, restraining Wulan and injuring Jin, Minghuang, and Momen. Lord Naijiu said, "Fortunately, Yuan's formation stabilized the situation, otherwise the 7 of us would have had to flee for our lives just now. Starlight, without your threat, these ancestors have become even more reckless. It was indeed very dangerous just now." Wulan nodded. Though his own body was strong, the various highest-level powers controlled by the ancestors were also very troublesome. Just now, the inference fire ancestor erupted. Inference Fire Ancestor, one of the top-ranking ancestors in the innate primordial life camp, renowned and powerful, with a seat in the land of eternity, an undying and indestructible existence. It is the absolute main battle faction of the innate primordial life camp. Just now, it actually swallowed the immense main battle avatar of Lord Wulan in an instant, though it only restrained for a moment. Lord Wulan tore through the Inference Fire Ancestor's body and burst out, but it showed a flaw in the previous cooperation. The Inference Fire Ancestor was torn apart, but endless flames gathered and instantly restored. At that time, the other 12 erupting ancestors, plus dozens of other ancestors, Jin, Minghuang, and Momen, the three lords were instantly severely injured. If not for the help of the other lords, their main battle avatars might have been annihilated. Lord on Lord, no one fears. But facing a siege, even the main battle avatar might be blown up. The delay strategy carries some costs. Starlight said, I must allocate some power to assault the innate primordial life camp's army to terrify the world-level primordials, greatly slowing their conquest of the source world. As for dealing with those ancestor levels, according to my observations of the future, as long as we listen to Yuan, we can still hold on. Hold on once or twice, can we last 10 times or 100 times? I know the future is uncertain. Lord Nijiu shook his head lightly. We can't blindly trust in observing the future. You're right. Starlight nodded. Nijiu. Golden Lord frowned and scolded, your life force is stronger than many ancestors. We're not afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid, I'm worried the delay strategy will fail. After all, once the 7 of us lords collapse, those ancestors can attack the Pavilion Zun World Group recklessly, and the Pavilion Zun World Group might fall faster. Lord Nijiu said, Starlight, increase your main battle avatar power to 90%, the remaining 10% to assault those world-level primordials. They are now frightened by your killings, daring to attack the source world recklessly should be much less. Your 10% power should be enough to deter them. I agree with Nijiu. Lord Mo-Man nodded. Starlight smiled, my main battle avatar has already recovered to 90%. Nijiu was stunned. Jin, Minghuang, Mo-Man, Yuan, and Wulan were all a bit surprised. It seemed so dangerous just now, and you hid your strength. Wulan asked. It only appeared dangerous. Starlight smiled, I was waiting for an opportunity, a chance to hurt them. Calculated back and forth, don't let the 7 of us fall in the end. Lord Nijiu said. 70+ ancestors working together, the pressure on the lords was also great. Trust Starlight. Yuan said. Starlight, when do you predict Luofong will break through? Lord Minghuang asked, and the other 5 lords also looked at Starlight. Luofong, by comprehending those primordial bloodlines, has already touched upon the mysteries of the highest level powers. Starlight smiled, he is now trying to create the primordial level Dao, and in just several tens of eras, his second creation of Dao has already reached the near Dao level. Near Dao? Reached near Dao so quickly? When I became master of the source world, it took me 300 billion eras to near Dao. Jin said, feeling the attraction of the highest level destructive power. It then took another 5,000 eras to truly grasp the primordial destruction path. Once near Dao, enlightenment is very certain. This Luofong being introduced here, his actual cultivation time is only 1.5 billion eras, and he's already near Dao. It's estimated it'll take a few more dozen billion eras, or at most hundreds of billion eras, to attain Dao. These 7 lords were quite expectant. According to the cultivator camp's experience, once one can sense the attraction of the highest level powers, it means they are very close. Next, it is about grinding skillfully, gradually accumulating and perfecting, until finally mastering it one day. Since it is within reach, with their talent, spending some time is sure to reach it. His current cave mansion is under a speed time acceleration of over 1 billion times. Thus, it is estimated that in just about 100 eras, a new lord will be born. Starlight smiled gently, by then, the situation will change. Everyone present nodded. Cooperation between 8 lords, compared to 7, would increase overall strength by at least 20 or 30%. He cultivates the primordial life and death Dao, which will greatly benefit our entire cultivator camp. Yuan smiled, and the other 6 lords were also quite expectant. In the infinite primordial space, there are quite a few who hold the highest level of power. Besides the innate primordial life camp and the cultivator camp, there are also other camps. The lords had seen certain existences proficient in life direction, always longing to have such a companion. Luofong was such a companion. Inside a quiet room of an ordinary cave mansion in the land of origin. I have finally succeeded. Tien Langu refined the world-level primordial bloodline, as his degree of comprehension had reached 70%. The moment it was refined into his body, it triggered the entire life's evolution. Countless frost-white hairs emerged on his body's surface, turning him into a colossal creature. The original cave mansion of Tien Langu was a high-level primordial life cave mansion. The quiet room had a relatively small space-time, and the gigantic beast instantly filled the entire quiet room's space-time range. Tien Langu was slightly displeased but still reverted to human form. So what if you're a fusion Dao cultivator? I will become a world-level primordial first. Tien Langu smiled. The appearance of Luofong brought considerable pressure on Tien Langu. After all, for a fusion Dao cultivator, becoming a world-level primordial is very easy. Once Luofong becomes a world-level primordial first, then the Dark World Group might directly fall under Luofong's command. The Dark World Group is considered a hometown group of worlds. If a group of worlds has two world-level primordials, naturally, the one who breaks through first becomes the leader, which is an unspoken rule. Tien Langu still hopes to command his hometown world group. So when Luofong first arrived at the land of origin, Tien Langu exchanged for a supporting treasure, pushing forward energetically, and finally succeeded today. The Dark World Group will ultimately be under my command. Tien Langu was in a great mood. If Luofong was faster, Tien Langu would still be stuck at the high-level primordial life stage and would have to be under Luofong's command, obliged to pay respects obediently. Now, it's no longer necessary. Being a world-level primordial is indeed different. Tien Langu walked out of the quiet room of the cave mansion, waiting for the Lord's summons. He waited for quite a while. What's going on? Tien Langu was a bit puzzled. I've become a world-level primordial, so why hasn't the Lord summoned me? In the rules of the cultivator camp, the birth of a world-level primordial is considered a big event. The Lord of the respective territory would personally summon them, arrange a position, and assign a world group to lead. But Tien Langu broke through, yet he wasn't summoned. Now it's wartime, the Lords might be engaged in life-and-death battles with the ancestors, temporarily having no time for me. Tien Langu speculated, smiling slightly, I'll first visit some world-level primordials. Having become a world-level primordial, naturally, one associates with others of the same level. He wasn't worried about lacking the necessary resources, as long as he indeed became a world-level primordial before Luofong, the Dark World Group would surely be under his command. This little fellow Tien Langu also became a world-level primordial. Yuan had already known. The cultivator territory is now divided into 7 dominions, and Yuan commands one of these dominions, with the Dark World Group within its range. Naturally, Yuan will arrange for Tien Langu as a world-level primordial. No rush yet. Once Luofong becomes a lord, the dominions need to be redivided. And the Dark World Group will become his absolute territory. Yuan thought. This is also a rule set by the lords. The Lord's homeland world group is the Lord's absolute territory, and how to manage it, other lords have no right to interfere. Whereas many other world groups are managed according to the entire cultivator camp's rules, which are jointly decided by the 7 lords. With the birth of a lord, territories need to be redivided. Only the hometown world group is not divided. In the eyes of the 7 lords, the Dark World Group is already regarded as Luofong's absolute territory. On Primordial Island, at the peak of the mountain, in Luofong's cave mansion quiet room. To date, attempts to create the primordial life and death Dao have been made 38,291,022 times. Among them, over 93% have felt the allure of the highest level of power. It feels within reach, yet unattainable. Since attempting to create the primordial life and death Dao, 1 billion era times have passed. During this long age, Luofong has been tormented with pain. After all, each time he feels very close, each time he fails, it is naturally excruciating. Luofong has tried various directions. Starting from the half-primordial life and death path as a basis, or from the origin system as the core, or the spiritual consciousness system as the core. Luofong tried all sorts of creation methods over these long years. Up till today, Luofong no longer knows how to try anymore. I've exhausted all possibilities. Luofong sat there dazedly. Behind him stood 15 Luofong avatars. These 15 avatars had slightly different appearances, but each aura was extremely terrifying. Each had touched the threshold of the world-level primordial life form. These 15 avatars were the most perfect of Luofong's 30 million attempts. For these 15 avatars, Luofong found no flaws. This video will end here.